Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. And you understand what this show is all about. We're going to be talking a lot about Trump. We're going to talk about the indictment. We're going to talk about what's going on over here in the New York City with Alvin Bragg. We're going to talk about other stuff that's happening in New York. We're going to talk about my election. But yeah, we're going to basically focus on the Trump indictment, the rally that happened the other day, and what is going to lead up to the upcoming election and the changes that we're going to need in the coming future, and how to make New York better, and a lot of my ideas that I have in my head that I put down on plan that I want you guys all to think. We have a live chat on, let's see if I can get it up over here. He took it off. I don't see it anymore. I don't know what to do about it. Hello, can you help me with the live chat here? I don't know what you did. Anyways, because I would like to see what they chat with me. So here's the thing, guys, tonight. We're going to start with my quote and joke of the day, and then we're going to discuss. You can call into the show, by the way, everybody, and I want to give you the number, 646-974-1581. Hopefully, it'll be posted on the screen below me, 646-974-1581. Anybody watching the show could, on YouTube, could type in a question or something, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll mention it on the air. My co-host, Ezra Levy, is going to be gone. He's not coming in for the next couple of weeks, and of course, you know, next week's show is our last show before Passover. Then I'm going down to Florida, and we're going to have Passover over there on the beach. I'm going to speak to a couple of people at some events, but next week is our last show. We're going to have a special Republican guest on the show, a district leader that's going to come on the show, and I want to tell you other things that I've done with the Republican Party that I've spoken to about it. Anyways, again, you can call into the show at, it's on the screen below me now, 646-974-1581, or you can type into YouTube a question or chat. Welcome to the show, everybody. Here's my quote for the day. Oh yeah, I forgot. Let me start with a commercial for Ezra Levy, even though he's not here anymore right now. Ezra Levy, criminal attorney, specializing in all criminal matters, including weapons possessions, domestic violence, theft offenses, criminal and family court, orders of protection, drug offenses, and of course, weapon possessions. Call him at 917-755-1187. Again, it's right here on the screen, 917-755-1187. Or you can use his email at ezralevyLawfirm@gmail.com. That's Ezra Levy Law Firm at gmail.com. ezralevyLawfirm@gmail.com or 917-755-1187. Also, I'm going to put on my screen my website, heshytishler.com. Go to it. Contribute. Come in. Volunteer. Yes, we have 2,000 signatures. It's not enough because you know they're going to knock off at least a half or 2/3. They're going to come after me. You're right. That's more than enough that I need. I need volunteers. Come on in. We have another week of signatures to go. I'd like your help. Come volunteer. You can contact me on my website or email me at justinofheshy@gmail.com. You can click on my heshytishler.com website, HESHYTISCHLER.com. Send me a message that way. Come on in and help us. Okay, my dear friends, we're ready to start the show. And here's my quote of the day. And this is by one of the greatest presidents that I appreciate as of late that's still alive. As long as you're going to be thinking anyway, think big. Without passion, you don't have energy. Without energy, you have nothing. When somebody challenges you, fight back. Be brutal and tough. Yes, all these quotes were by President Trump. And then I posted something else. And this is a very important thing. I want you to stop being afraid of other Americans, of other religions, of other classes, of speaking out. You're American first. Act like it. If you don't get it, ask an American who does. You're an American. You're free. You have rights. You know, yesterday in my office came a fire department inspector into my building. And this is a guy by the name of Lieberman. He's a Jewish guy. He walks around to all the stores and he says he's Jewish. He shows his badge and he scares them. He walks in there and he says, you better let me in. And he goes in, and I've thrown him out of many other places. And when he saw me, he says, oh, no. I says, get out. I said, who gave you permission to come in? I'm allowed to come in. I'm going to the back. I said, no, you're not. The door's locked. Go get the key. You're the landlord. You're allowed to go wherever you want. I said, no, you're not. A landlord cannot go into places where he's not allowed to go. When he rents something out, even if he has permission, he still has to ask permission. He puts his chief on the phone. The chief says, well, call the police. I said, call the police. He says, the police will walk in. We'll make sure we don't steal. I said, that's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm telling you I have the Fourth Amendment. You have to get a warrant. You have to come in. You have to ask permission. You should make an appointment. And then I'm following this guy. He goes to the next door restaurant. The guy has a unit on the roof. And he tells the guy, go get a ladder. He says, 1 minute, why don't you come get a ladder if you want to go up there? Well, I don't have to provide a ladder. You better provide me with a ladder or I'll give you a violation. He says, I understand. The unit is up there for 12, 15 years. I don't have to provide you with a ladder. Why don't you go up there and inspect? Nobody comes to inspect. Usually we pay our fee. We got our permits. I want to check that the sticker is still on there. Now, remember, we got our permits. We legalized our units. We have a sign-off on the units. They've already checked it. We've been paying fees. This guy wants to climb up to make sure the sticker's on there. Otherwise, he can give us a $1,000 fine. This is what New York City has come to. Heshy, well, that's the rule. Let me tell you something. You have a garbage day by in front of your house twice a week, Monday. When in my house, my neighborhood, we have it on Wednesday and Saturday, or Shabbos. Other people have it on Mondays. People have different times of the week where the garbage sanitation comes, picks it up. Wonderful people. I'm a big supporter of the sanitation. Right now, to get more revenue, listen to this. Usually, you're not supposed to take out your garbage before 3 o'clock. Now, that's normal. And people go home at 6, 7 o'clock. They have dinner. They spend time with their kids and they go to bed. In the morning, they're told they better sweep in front of the house between 6 and 8 o'clock. Here's the deal. New thing starting that's going into effect April 1st, 2023. That you cannot put out your garbage before, 6 o'clock in the evening. You hear this? If you place your garbage out before 6 o'clock in the evening, you're going to get a ticket and it has to have a cover on it. Place the waste out after 8 o'clock if you're putting bags on the street. So they want you to go out 8 o'clock at night in the cold or winter in the snow to put it out. And if you put it out before, you get yourself a $50 ticket. I don't understand. It said 3 o'clock. Now you're switching it. Why? Less rats. When do you think the rats come out? They come out at night when you post it. That's when the cats come out. Not during the day. And of course we want to use double bags and so on. This is a way to create new revenue. You're making fun of me. A couple years ago, I was arrested because there was a sanitation worker walking up and down 16th Avenue. And back then, Councilman Greenfeld told everybody, let them give you tickets. When they came to my block, I stopped them. And she had me arrested for illegally abusing her, which was not true. She posted the ticket on my window. I grabbed it off. She says I hit her. I had 13 witnesses, and they still arrested me. Till finally the district attorney interviewed the witnesses and saw the video and saw that I was right. Even the police and Mr. Greenfeld wouldn't have released the video that was on the street. There was an NYPD camera on my block. They took it off since then. I asked them for the video. Oh, the camera wasn't working. Now, speed cameras, red light cameras have no problem, but the cameras that are protecting the schools and the private areas didn't work. And they take them off. Why? Because they're putting these cameras all over. That is something that I want to stop. So recently, last week, we had a holiday called Purim. Everybody got a little drunk. They handed out gifts. They collected money, and people took the day off and spent time with their family. And we had a lot of garbage. People had a lot of food, and it's like Christmas, New Year's, Passover. Lots of garbage came out. So people put out their garbage. Now, Wednesday in my block is garbage collection day. So we don't put out the garbage till the afternoon. This lady... The sanitation cop, not the sanitation workers, went from house to house. You're talking 200 houses on 17th Avenue, just one avenue. Each house got a ticket. And it wasn't that the sidewalk was dirty, that in our driveway or where we store it, that the boxes weren't put away, that there are napkins spread apart. With the leaves and the rain, it was rainy, windy. Everybody got a $50 ticket. Just alone on my avenue, we had $10,000 in fines. Called up Mr. Kalman Yeager, my councilman. What's going on? Well, Heshy, people should have cleaned up after the holiday. I said, but Wednesday was still part of the holiday. Shabbos, Saturday, is still the holiday. You can't tell us stupid things like this. But again, to create more revenue, they found a new way to create a new law, and the city council did not even have to approve it. Guys, your guys are allowing these people to take advantage of us. I know it's only a $50 ticket, and for me, $50 is nothing, and I'm going to pay it. I don't know where everybody else has $50, but I'm going to fight those 200 tickets. I'm going to put everybody together and fight them. And if you have more, come to me. But again, each one is a different case. I'm going to make these judges crazy. But this is what they go out. This is how they create revenue, and this is how they just make stuff up. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, to complain so much about it, but it bothers me when they take advantage of us and they have no other way to do that, you know. I want to give you a joke. Let me make you a little happy. I was driving with Linda in the car, and I was stuck in traffic. It was really, really bad traffic. And I was so frustrated, I turned to Linda. I'm turning round. I meant, you know, around. And Linda says, well, stop eating so many burgers, you know. She says I'm getting fat. That's a joke. I know nobody's going to laugh at it. There's nobody here not to laugh at it, but I'm laughing at it. I thought it was funny, Linda, right? At the time, I thought it was funny. Anyways, I think it's very cool. Anyways, that was my joke of the day, and I made fun of myself, and that's about it. I want to talk about President Trump. I was at a rally for him yesterday. I posted a video on my site about it. People said a lot of people didn't come. The news didn't make a deal. I saw at least 200-300 people over there. I saw people not acting with violence, not getting crazy out there, not screaming and cursing. There was one guy out there cursing and screaming on the television. There was another implant over there that was freaking out a little bit. But I want you to know that it was a peaceful rally. We came out to support the president, right in front of where Mr. Bragg is going to try to arrest him. Mr. Trump is being indicted on a felony that should be a misdemeanor. Do you understand what that means? Usually Mr. Bragg, the district attorney, drops the charges, or he doesn't want to prosecute. He wants to let people out with cashless bail. In this case with Mr. Trump, he's saying that campaign funds were used, which is a lie. Michael Cohen, who testified, this guy Michael Cohen was represented by a lawyer, and this is one of the main witnesses. His name is Robert Costello. He was on the Carlson Tucker show, whatever it was, Tucker Carlson show. And the guy went on and says, and I'm going to quote for you right over here what it said. What he said. He said that he got a waiver from Michael Cohen and from the district attorney to tell them what Michael Cohen said in the meeting. Michael Cohen said when he first met with the lawyers that he was suicidal. He's going to kill himself when he was arrested. Now, a guy who's suicidal will do anything to get out of jail or maybe not. He's at the end of his rope. So he even told the lawyers in an interview, he said, I have nothing on Donald Trump. So you know that whatever he told Bragg and the rest of them was a lie. Just a lie. And we caught him lying many times. He went to jail for lying. Now we're going to arrest Trump for lying. And if the grand jury, which is now, that's why Trump wasn't arrested yet, because the grand jury didn't come back with a decision yet. So even if you want to arrest, even if the grand jury says no, DA Bragg can still bring charges against him. This is never going to stick. They said that he used campaign finance money or campaign funds, which he didn't, to pay her hush money up or keep her quiet. What he did was legitimate. The whole evidence against him was that Michael Cohen said that he used campaign finance funds or campaign money, or he was going to use it as a campaign contribution and play games with it. That is what you are arresting Mr. Trump on, when the other district attorney before them, Vance, investigated. By the way, Dan Goldman, who is now the congressman in my neighborhood as well as another neighborhood, he was one of the prosecutors. Also didn't have nothing to do and say to prosecute Trump. Mr. Bragg is doing this for political reasons. The Democrats know that Donald Trump is coming back. The Democrats know that and this is the mistake they did last time. When Donald ran again, when Mr. President Trump ran again the second time, even though he got a lot of press, they didn't really come after him on bad things. You know what I mean? It was the pandemic he didn't do, the budgets he didn't do, but they didn't come after him so much on personal. You know what I mean? The impeachment hearings were really not so bad at the end, and it didn't happen till after, till in the beginning or after he left office. This is the point that I believe that President Trump will be reelected. I think that Mr. Biden hasn't done anything good. You know, Mr. Biden shut down the oil pipeline. Oil prices, boom, popped up, $1.95, $2.50 a gallon. I was paying almost $5 a gallon at one point. Yes, now it's down to $3.55 or $3.95. So what did Mr. Biden do? He did some on protected lands. He opened up something that'll cost us $8 billion, and it won't even be ready, the oil, for about between 5 and 10 years in Alaska. Why don't you just reopen the pipelines that are existing now, or finish those pipelines that are running now? Why don't you let us finish with the fracking? I'll tell you why. Anything to make it stuff harder, to make it look like that the Democrats are doing better. And Mr. Trump, I apologize not so much for brag that we're not standing behind you. See, a lot of people in the Republican Party don't understand that we have the power to take back New York City. We've had Republican mayors. We've had Republican presidents and governors. When we stand up and get sick of it, we're just not coming out. We go on vacations. We think it's a joke. We think it's a one-party system. That's not true. You can see that America is divided 50-50. New York I'm running on the Republican ticket. In my community, the Republican in my area, 16,000 are against 7,000. But again, the Republicans won't come out to vote, so the Democrats will win the election. I'm hoping that my Democrats know that I'm really one of the people. I don't believe there should even be a 2 or 3 party system. I believe that everybody should be an independent, that everybody should go to the polls once. Heshy, are you crazy? Why would you say that? I'll tell you why. Spending money on this next election, just me and Carmen Yeager in my area, forget that the other areas that have 5 or 6 candidates. Each one of us are going, according to what I understand, Carmen Yeager is going to spend $600,000 against me on the campaign. $600,000. When I'm only allowed to spend $220,000 on the first part because I took campaign funds. Carmen will start collecting private money, but I don't know how he's doing it legitimately. I hear right now he's collecting signatures not legitimately with a guy by the name of Nachman Kala. And again, they're doing campaign finance paperwork. Again, it's a misdemeanor. But again, I don't really care what they're doing. Everybody should run as an independent. Let everybody come out for one election. You're talking Carmen's going to spend $600. I'm going to spend $200 on the first part. Then on the second part, Carmen's going to spend more money. I'm going to spend more money. By the time the campaign ends, and I hated to do this on the last election where I didn't spend much money, we're going to spend over $1 million to get somebody elected that doesn't make more than $300,000 salary over the next 2-year term. That $1 million is only going to get us elected for 2 years. That maximum, with all the committees and all the extra money, maybe we're going to make $300,000. And I'm not even taking the salary. But let's just say I did. You're talking we're going to spend $1 million to get somebody elected, and forget the backdoor deals, the PACs that are going to be collecting money, like a guy, Jeffrey Lev, that's going to collect another $100,000, $200,000 to do some illegal stuff, saying things about me or advertising against me. Then the Democratic Party is going to get another $100,000 or $200,000 raised for them. These Republicans who went against me are going to get some money on the side or private deals. So I'm not even talking $1 million. Let's just take $2 million. This is just ridiculous. Let everybody go to the elections once. There should be no primary and Democrat and primary. Everybody gets to one time, one election, one shot. Whoever wins, wins. That's the way. Ranked choice voting. So if you vote for number 1 and you vote for the number 2 guy, the number 2 guy can win number 1 guy. Very complicated. And even if it wasn't complicated, everybody gets a vote. One vote. That doesn't get counted twice. I mean, your number 2 vote can get counted as a number 2 vote. And then if there's enough number 2 votes, the number 1 guy gets it if your number 2 guy loses. You know, they were telling me, Heshy, if you go with the ranked choice voting, you ask people, listen, don't vote for me. Vote for the number 1 guy. But vote for me as your number 2 guy. That means if the number 1 doesn't get enough votes, if there's too many number 2s, I will win. That's not the way it's supposed to work. Whoever has the most votes, you don't get a right to choose 2, 3, 4 different times. But again, New York City found a way to play the voting game. I'm against the Republican and Democrat game, but again, there is a game and it seems to work. And I believe that that's the way it should be. You know, everybody gets to run, everybody gets to campaign and raise your money and run for president, run all over the country. You can even stop all these crazy different cities with the president running all over the place. Let him advertise, let him go meet the people. November comes, everybody gets to vote. Pick the candidate. I'm sure there'll be enough advertising. Making rallies in every different town, spending billions for the presidential campaign. Another couple of millions of dollars for governor. Forget mayor race, how many $100 million was spent between all the candidates. All this money can go to the right place. You know, there's a company called Masbia, a very good company that feeds the poor, and I used to be a volunteer for them. Now he's getting money from the mayor and from this one and that one. You know what he's busy doing? Instead of feeding his community and helping more of the people in his community, he's going to feed the migrants and meet them at the bus station. Mayor Adams now has assigned $1.5 million into schooling and giving them free schooling for the migrants to get schooling. Now, my kid had to pay $30,000 for college this year. I have to pay back that loan. I have getting no money from the mayor for schooling. My kid needs a schooling. My kid needs a job. He's going to get married soon. What are we going to do about that? But again, we worry about everybody else but the city of New York. We forget about our neighbors. We forget about the stuff that's very important. Donald Trump, you are not guilty. And no matter what, Donald's going to win the case. Even if they indict him, he goes to trial. And it's going to be postponed. I mean, it's not precedented that you ever had a president indicted. Impeached, they tried, and it was never even the impeachment, but it was never ruled because the Senate always overrode it because they saw that the Congress was always a game. But to indict a president over nothing, over giving somebody hush money, everybody does. You know, my opponent did it. Everybody does it. Not me. I don't have those problems. But my point I'm trying to tell you is everybody has deals. And you don't indict a president because you claim that he did it. Michael Cohen is a liar. We have Robert Costello and let me tell you what he writes here, Mr. Costello, and I saw this on an interview. He sent 330 emails. He sent 330 emails and text messages to the district attorney. He was telling them that Cohen is a liar. He put together paperwork and evidence. He said that Michael Cohen was suicidal, and Michael Cohen met with a Reverend Jerry Falwell and told him that everything that he said was a lie. Now, the man tells everybody to lie, and we still believe him. Why? Because he's going against President Trump. When President gets to Trump, they're going to bring Michael Cohen up. They're going to bring Robert Costello. They're going to see that it was a lie. They're going to see that all of this was a game. Oh, let me tell you what I see on some questions over here. The inspectors don't talk or recycle. Okay, I forgot what it is thinking. Oh, somebody wrote something bad about me. Who cares? I want you to know I don't idolize President Trump. I respect him. Why do I respect him? Because he's always fought for the other man. Everybody makes mistakes. Some people have some serious errors. You've never got President Trump doing something bad. He's a businessman. You know, everybody said, well, President Trump said to Hillary Clinton, well, the reason I get tax breaks is because it's your game. That's right, it's your game. You know, when I ran for office last time, I didn't really understand the game. I didn't understand it. I figured, listen, I run for office. My political friends are going to help me get elected. They're not supposed to lie. Carmen Yeager told me he was going to support me and help me and raise money for me. Instead, he lied. He supported my candidate. He put up another candidate, Maria Mark, and for a reward, he hired her as a no-show job in a religious neighborhood that she knows nothing about. He put up a kid, 20-something years old, who doesn't even know how to practice law, who doesn't even know how to fill out his paperwork, and raised him $20,000, and he ran him against me. I didn't know that. I didn't know you play the game. I didn't know that. I've learned the game. Now I'm running a solid campaign. I have almost 2,000 signatures, and I figure even 1/3 of it, 25%, 500, I have more than enough. I know Common doesn't have enough Republican signatures. I'm hoping he backs off the Republican side, and man to man, we run one-on-one, head-to-head. He's getting the conservative line. Big deal. I'm hoping the conservative people come out and see my name. And we vote properly in November who should be the real person. You know, I helped a synagogue this week again get their mikvah. I helped a guy in Staten Island open up his job, and the inspector says, Heshy, you're too tough on your guy. I said, that's right. I want to make sure he does it right. I want to make sure nobody gets injured on the job. He says, but you're tougher than us, because I said, if he can beat me, for sure I pass. I've never failed a construction inspection in 9.5 years. You know why? Because my sites are perfect. I know the compliance. I know what they're looking for. We have to work together in this city. The city council works their own way. They pass laws and legislation and stupid stuff like that. You know, I'm embarrassed to tell you, I got a letter today in the mail. Here's the envelope. If you can see, it's Heshy Tishla with my address. There is no return address. 0 return address. Okay, you know, I get mail all the time, but never something like that. So I got this in the mail. Some guy writes, free Palestine from Israeli apartheid. 750,000 Palestinians killed out of Palestine. This is some kind of a hate letter. Anti-Zionism equals anti-Semitism. How did Palestine become Israel? You know, they want to try to scare me. I'm not scared. Mr. Yeager and the rest of you political foes, I've learned the game. I've learned how to collect the money properly. I've done it by the book and by the law. Mr. Yeager did not. I've learned how to go to each and every person and not ask for more than $175. And look, I raised the most money in the city of New York with somebody else. And I'm ready for round 2 in case I have a primary. You have to learn their game. I followed the laws. I'm very good with that. That's why I'm able to help hundreds of people a week. I go to court for them, administrative law. I advise my architects. I teach them inspections. And then I do some private constituent services. I help people with other issues, raise money for their families, feed their programs, go to their weddings, go to their speaking events, speak to young kids, go to drug centers. I think I told you guys about a week and a half ago, there was a girl that not me, there was a friend of mine helping this young girl. She's about 31. She was about 31 years old. Her name was Ashley. I'm not going to tell you her last name. And she was doing drugs. Drugs. She was smoking pot to try to calm herself down, but she was doing the meth, the other crazy drugs. And I told her she was going to die. She was going to die. There was no questions about it. Pretty, beautiful girl. She died about a week ago. I think this Sunday was the funeral. They invited me. I usually go to funerals and events and mourning, but this bothered me. And also it was open casket and stuff, but it bothered me. I begged her. I was sad for her. She wanted to die. No matter what, it was best for her to do a drug. And we are teaching our children that marijuana is legal. We're teaching them when you turn 18, even though we say you can't buy it before 18 or 21. Yeah, you could use it. I don't know, my dear friends. I don't know. Our mayor is lost. There was a rally the other day with the gay people fighting with the religious Jewish people and people anti-gay. Now, I'm not gay. Anybody wants to do things in their private life. But again, do it yourself. Don't teach our children they have to be gay. Don't teach them about transgender. I was joking the other week that there's 19 different selections. There's 7 different selections. I was buying a ticket to go to Florida and back for the holidays. I'm sorry, back and forth. They're making me come home. And over there, it asks me, am I male, female, other? Or what do you describe yourself in? And I forget there was 2 other options. What does that mean? Male or female? There's no such thing as transgender. Even if you're going to switch from male to female, you call yourself a female. It's not acceptable. And then to teach our children what that is, you don't teach them this at 5 or 6. You mix them up, and then they get crazy. You don't do that. People get married all the time, and they say that the first year of marriage, the parents shouldn't be involved. You shouldn't be talking to your in-laws, your mother, your father. You shouldn't even allow people to come to your house because they make you crazy. And when they do that, that's when a lot of divorces happen, is the first year of marriage. That's when the breakups happen. Yeah, sometimes they reconcile, but that's when it is, because people mix into their lives and tell them this is the right way of doing it. That's the right way of doing it. This is the way to keep the house clean. This is how you feed your husband. No. Me and Linda, the first year, we were very busy. we really didn't hang out with our parents. Even though we were very involved with our parents, and I was helping take care of my mother and she with her mother, but we pretty much spent a year alone. We lived in a basement. It was very cute because our house wasn't ready. So we had to live in a basement. We rented a basement apartment. It was a walk-in basement, like 2 steps down. And really we couldn't really entertain. And even though me and Linda did entertain, we had like a party there for 80 people once because I always entertained and people like coming to visit me. But really we were to ourselves. And that's the way it's supposed to be. We came home at night. We had dinner together. We spoke. We went out to dinner. We went to the movies. The first year is experiment to visit. I know a lot of young people that they go home to their mothers. The girl is complaining to her mother. Her mother's giving her advice. Well, you tell them to do this. The father of the boy is telling him, you tell her she has to do that. No, we don't do that. Now you're going to teach children, well, if you don't feel like a man, you can act like a woman. If you want to be a man, act like a man. It doesn't work like that, my friends. And that's how we mix up our children, and that's why we're going to have a crazy future. I want to stop all of that. We can't go to libraries. We can't have transgender teachers. I'm sorry. Either she's a man or she's a woman. And when she gets there, she can't have no right to teach them. There's a program out there, and I had them on my show called Footsteps. It's a program that takes religious Jews and says, okay, don't be religious no more. Now, a lot of people do forget their religion or give up on it. But they purposely go a step further and say, listen, there is no God. Or whatever you were taught is no good. And they make them do sins against their own inner beliefs. And then, of course, when you're doing a sin, it gets better and better, and you forget the whole thing. I don't mind you showing them their freedom, or if they're lost and you want to guide them and help them. So if you want to help them get an apartment, you want them to help them get away from an abusive marriage, but don't teach them to not believe in God. Let them themselves figure it out. Again, there's a lot of people out there that are corrupt and a lot of people with their own ways of thinking. And I'm going to bring this up now. Let's talk about Mr. Fauci. Let's talk about Mr. Fauci. Here's a man that came out, and I saw videos when the president got elected. That was 2016, 17. There's a pandemic coming. How did he know a pandemic was coming? How did he know? I'm going to look at some questions now. How do we know that the pandemic was coming? There's no way he could have known that pandemic. What is it? My gender? Oh, God. I don't know, guys. Stop it. How did he know a pandemic was coming? How did he know this? I'll tell you how he knew it. And then he says, well, he didn't even know about the Wuhan lab. Now he says, well, we have nothing to do with the Wuhan lab. Mr. Fauci, you knew what was going on. You had secret information. You've been testifying. You're arguing with us. Mr. Fauci, and I'm not calling him Dr. Fauci. I liked him in the beginning because he played the game. But this guy is responsible for 4 million deaths. He's responsible. Now, they thought they were going to lower humankind. I was against the virus. I was against the masks. I knew that the virus was fake. Everybody has the flu. You're still calling it COVID. God's sakes, man. I've had COVID. If you want to talk, I have had COVID. I never had COVID. I get sick every year. I can't breathe when I have pneumonia or the flu or whatever it is. I think my doctor told me I had pneumonia a couple of months ago. I got sick. I was coughing. It was hard for me to breathe. That's what it is. And you take antibiotics and you get better. When people got sick with COVID, they didn't give them the antibiotics. They were telling them, well, respirator, and this is the way to do it. They found a new way to cure this. I don't know why you couldn't do the regular way. There was so many different medicines that you could try. I met a young lady recently who had cancer, and she fought it, and they fixed her up. Now she has to do radiation treatment, and she has to do some other stuff afterwards. There's an experimental treatment to do something that can help her along better and faster. How come she's allowed to do that? Why couldn't we do that during COVID when 4 million people supposedly were dying? Why couldn't we do something then to make sure that it didn't happen? No, they threatened the pharmacies. They threatened the doctors. Hundreds, maybe thousands of doctors. There was some doctor in Flatbush, I forgot his name, with Klicknick or whatever. He came out and was saying COVID this. And when people were praying outside the houses, he called the police on them. Even the police were lost because they didn't know what they were going on. They were being threatened and scared to death. But the police were able to leave their houses, sit in close comfort with another police officer in their car. And they really thought the mask saved them. They didn't wear gloves. Their cars were dirty. But again, they were allowed to go out. People went on the train. You think the bums were not on the train making it dirty when they wiped it down? How do you wipe down hundreds of cars? How do you disinfect where there are rats and cockroaches all over the place? I'll tell you how. You can't. It was a game to hurt us, to suck us for money. Something was up. I don't know what. I don't know what. Shutting down a city of New York City of 8 million, 9 million, 10 million, a state. And you know not everybody locked themselves up. You had people working in stores, touching our food, touching our vegetables. So there was no way not to spread, supposedly, this COVID. So if you spread it to one, you spread it to another, you spread it to another. This was a game. There was no COVID. I know you can laugh at me and Heshy, you're crazy. There was COVID. I had COVID. I was sick from COVID. I almost died. I know. During COVID, I was invited to a party. During COVID, a guy had COVID. He almost died. He was in a coma. And when he got better, he made a big party. I said, Mom, you just had COVID. You're making a big party and spending, I don't know, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 and having people here. It's still COVID. I came because I laughed and I had a speaking event and I was able to make myself more known to the people. I don't understand when you're trying to trick others. You are an American. You are grown. You have the First Amendment. You have the Fourth Amendment. You have the Fifth Amendment. You know, when a cop pulls you over, and I like the police officers, the first thing you have to ask him is, what did I do, officer? What did I do? Give me your driver's license and registration. He has to tell you what he did. Ask for his name and badge number. He has to tell you. And if he doesn't, you don't have to give him anything. You know, he has, when you're walking down the street and a cop asks you for ID, he can't ask you for ID. He has to have reasonable, articulate suspicion. It's called RAS. He has to have reasonable that you're going to commit a crime or you've committed a crime. By just suspecting you might commit a crime is not right. By just coming into your building that I want to check maybe something is wrong is not right. These are the laws of the land. And we have to fight for those laws, but they try to trick us. Your assembly and your Congress have just passed something in legislation that just crazy right now about getting sick again, about your health insurances. And they could, oh yes, here's the thing, that you have to, that if you're sick or you suspected of COVID, you have to give your health records over to some main database. Are you crazy? I have to give you my health records? You know, the HIPAA laws say that everything is supposed to be confidential. Now, because you're picking something, it's not confidential. They actually passed a law, both the Assembly and the Senate. My assemblyman, Simcha Eichenstein, that I like so much, actually allowed it to pass. Stop it. State Senator Felder was nowhere to be found. So right now, if you're sick or something is wrong with you, your doctor has a right to report this. Has a right to turn it over to the main database, and don't think we can't find out your information, 1, 2, 3. Unacceptable. Just unacceptable that they pass such a law. And again, it's more. Forget that. Go do the budgets. Go take care of the old problems that you have. But we're going to keep passing more legislation. We're going to allow it. City Council, I'm not going to let half those laws. I'm going to scream. I'm going to post videos on it. I'm going to show the city of what's going on in the city of New York. You know, Alvin Bragg, I want you to know something. When I do become City Council, I'm going to fight in my budget to close down the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. Now, I can't close you down, but I'm going to take away so much funding from you because you don't need it. You're not anyways prosecuting anybody except for the President of the United States. Everybody else, you let go. The guy who came to beat me up, you let go. The guy, I just don't understand you. You let him go. And then again, you let him go. Finally, after you finished beating up 3 people and almost beating one guy to his death, you gave him 18 months. And you know why he got 18 months? Only because the judge said he had anger issues. That he was an angry man, that he might do it again. Because if he was able to, and he should have seen his speech. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I was angry. My father was tortured by the Jews in Palestine before he was born. He abused me. All of that. And the judge almost let him go on that. The only reason he got in trouble was because he had a pretrial officer, like a probation officer. And the guy's name was Rothman. He wasn't Jewish. But he was so nasty to this guy. The guy said, this guy is crazy. He's an angry guy. You just can't let him go. He has to learn his lesson. And they only gave him 18 months. for beating up people. Now, let me tell you what, if President Trump gets found guilty, President Trump, minimum on this misdemeanor, could get a year up to a year in jail, or 6 months and $1,000, $10,000 fine. By upping it to a felony, he can get more than a year, even 5 years in jail. Okay, it's a lower felony. Usually, you lower the crime. They, Mr. Bragg, raised it from a misdemeanor to a felony. Not only that, it's not a felony, no matter what. But again, this is how we're letting him get away with it, and nobody's saying anything. Yeah, people came out to a rally. Should have been hundreds of thousands of people out there screaming and hollering. I am not intimidated, Mr. Bragg says. Of course you're not intimidated. 200-300 people come out. We should be screaming at him every day. We should be screaming at Mayor Adams, wasting our time, wasting our money. All this money is being wasted on President Trump's indictment. Grand juries, lawyers, investigations. I don't know. How much $100,000 did you spend, Mr. Bragg? More money out of my pocket. So you go out and give me garbage tickets. You go out and give me camera tickets. These the other day, was yesterday, was it yesterday or 2 days ago? I was driving on 65th Street. There was a big car accident. I didn't know what it was. I saw it later on in the evening. A guy was speeding, and he went through a red light and smashed into another guy. I think one person died. They were injured. They arrested him on manslaughter. Okay. He shouldn't have been speeding. But for speeding, we don't arrest somebody. The truth of the matter is, that is the one guy, so the whole city is going to get punished because of one guy. One guy, and plus, there's cameras all over the place. So if you want camera for evidence on somebody's guilt, that's fine. But a camera on going 3 miles over the limit, look at most of the tickets that are being issued by the cameras. A guy is getting for being 5 miles over the limit. 5 miles over the limit, and not a real limit of 65, 70 miles an hour. 20, 25 miles is the limit. So how fast is he really going? So he's going 25, 30, 36? That's not speeding on a major Ocean Parkway or a highway. This is what you're giving us the tickets, and it's not just $50 tickets. It turns into $100 tickets. 6 tickets later, you get punished. Your insurance goes up. It just doesn't end. This is not the way it's supposed to work. We're not supposed to be punishing a thing. You want the Big Brother thing? Put your cameras out there to watch for crime. Crime is up like you've never seen before. I was reading about this the other day about that not only is crime up by over, 40% in the city of New York, but that crime is not being he's not taking it serious, the mayor. He's busy with the marijuana criminals over there. Mr. Bragg is busy with the president's indictment on some stupid woman that was an adult star that slept with everybody anyways. And look what happens. They're going to indict him because he didn't want anybody to know that he might have slept, and he denies even sleeping with her. She has no proof, no dates, no nothing. But still, we're going after him. You know how many people in Congress, 400 or 500, have sexual problems, tax problems, arrested problems? Everybody gets arrested today. Really, it's not hard to get arrested. Your driver's license expired, or you forgot to pay a ticket. You get arrested. Really, you know that? If you have a suspended driver's license, and not that you didn't do anything wrong, you paid the ticket, but you paid it late and you forgot to unsuspend it, and people do that, you go to jail. I know I helped a young lady before Passover. She was arrested with 2 kids in the car. She was arrested because her license was suspended. And then when she said, I paid the ticket, look, you forgot to go back and undo it. Nothing we could do about it. We're going to arrest you. I don't know, my dear friends. This is not the way we're supposed to be compassionate people. We're living in the 21st century, and we're getting tired of it. Now, by the way, after the holidays, after Passover, I'm going to make a big party by Amnon's Pizza. Even though I want to do one before, I will making a big party by Amnon's Pizza once I'm on the ballot and that I know that I've won the Republican nomination. Now, I understand right now, and I'm a little disappointed, that I'm not sure that even if I win the nomination, the Republican leaders of Brooklyn will support me. I asked him straight out. I said, if I win, will you support me? Well, Heshy, I said, what does that mean? Why are you supporting the Democrat? Because he threw a couple of pennies at you? Because he voted your way one time? This lady from the Conservative Party straight out, we're supporting Kalman. Wait 2 years. What does Kalman have over them? What is he giving them? What kind of deal that you won't let? They actually told me not to run. My right to run as a citizen, not to run. That alone is illegal. You believe it? Don't run, Heshy. We're not going to support you. We're going to make sure you lose. You can't do that. Everybody should have the right to run. I believe Kalman shouldn't run. I believe he should back off. He has enough bad history on his own. But I'm going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, for now, as long as Kalman plays fair, I will play fair. If he doesn't play fair, I'm going to do exactly what Trump said. And listen to it again. When somebody challenges you, fight back. Be brutal. Be tough. That's what I do. I fight back. I'm tough. I don't let them come get me. My father, when I was a young boy, told me a story on how people allowed their own people to torture them. And there was always a few fighters. I had a cousin, Getzel Schwartz, who joined the American Army and fought back. We, the Americans back then, the greatest generation ever. And the reason why they called them the greatest generation ever in World War II, because they all stuck together. Women went to work and building stuff. Nobody just stayed at home. Everybody rationed. People understood that they were short and they had to help each other. People fed each other. People visited each other. People joined the army and gave up their lives to this great country. You know, we had the Revolutionary War. We had the Revolutionary War that people died for this great country under George Washington. We had the Civil War where people fought on both sides, brother against brother, for freedom. Then we had a bunch of other stupid wars. We had the Korean War after that, the Vietnam War. And don't get me wrong, those veterans are very good men. They went and sacrificed because they believed in this country and they believed in their leader. And what are we going to do? We're going to give it all up. We're going to give it all up for a stupid person that tells us what to do. Mr. President, you have a job. You are the economic advisor, and that's it. Mr. Mayor, you are here to make a budget and don't solve the world's problems. We know how to solve our problems. Still, the mandates have not all been lifted. And look at this stupid idiot governor. She's so busy coming to New York City constantly over and over and over and over again. Go run the state. She's busy in New York. We have a caller on the phone. I want to hear who's calling on the phone. Hello?
What's up, Heshy? It's Lenny.
Lenny, you heard me ranting for the last 45 minutes.
I agree with a lot you say.
I mean,
she flies to New York on that helicopter, and the taxpayers are paying for it.
Yeah. What was the last time she was here? She was just here for, but Lenny, what was she just here? Lenny, she was just in New York City the other day with the mayor doing something in Times Square. What was she here for? She's not big.
She's taking helicopter rides at our expense. There was something in, I think, the New York Post about how she's constantly using this helicopter. I mean, we have to pay for this.
Right.
You know, we have to pay for this.
You know, Lenny, she
in the city like you're supposed to have and stay there.
Right. She came in.
I don't know.
When she was running for election, she walked into Borough Park, into a Eichler Judaica store, surrounded by Jewish men. I'm not talking 6 feet apart, surrounded. And you know what? She's the one who fought, and she was Mr. Cuomo's sidekick. Allowed. She didn't say anything. She didn't get up and say, Mr. Cuomo, end the mandates, you're wrong. When Mr. Cuomo got in trouble with women, she said something because she saw an opportunity to take away his power. She's a zero. She's lower than a zero, and we voted her in.
I just want to commend your producer, because I read the comments that come in, and there's a guy, he goes by the name of X. He's stupid. He wants to know if Ezra's still on his diet. He's saying things about you. I mean, he wants to lock Trump up. The man doesn't really know what he's talking about. And I'm glad your producer knocked him off. But I will say one thing. The guy from Joey from Brooklyn, he's right. I feel the same way. He writes that the Democratic Party is not the same as it was, because I think all these woke people attach themselves to the Democratic Party. And it's not the same party anymore.
It's a party of money. It used to be the Republicans were that way and the Democrats really cared. You know, Lenny, on Passover last year we had a party, and the BPJCC sponsored it, supposedly. It's a Borough Park Jewish Community Council that's supposed to help the community. So let me tell you what my investigation brought up. The assemblyman and the arranged money that the BPJCC did not, raise the money. They got the money from the state. So this party is not sponsored by anybody private. I even told them I wanted to ruin it. But I don't want to hurt the kids, the 5,000 kids that are going to come out because there's nowhere for them to go. So they're getting now over $180,000. Really, this whole event, if you go cost and you go speak to all the vendors and everybody making money, is between $70,000 and $80,000. Where's the rest of the money? So I spoke to the assemblyman. I said, Assemblyman, where's the other 80 to 100,000 going? Well, you don't know how much goes into this event, Heshy. Time and people and secretaries. Right. The BPJCC is supposed to be an organization that is already sponsored and has money. They don't need to make more money. They're supposed to help the community. Ballpark Jewish Community Council. They're going to pocket $100,000 for a 2-day street event. Maybe more, because I think each event is like $70,000, $80,000.
Like I said on your show last week, everybody's got their hands in this.
But this is wrong. And you know what? But Lenny, last year they put the health department, one of the health department doctors on the stage to speak without a mask. This is the people that came into our community, Borough Park, shut us down, made news conferences, and embarrassed the Jewish people. I'm not talking embarrass the community, Lenny, like a Jews, an Italian, and all community. They just came after the Jews. They spread the word for the Jews. And then they, BPJCC, let them on stage. And I asked this guy, a Greenspan or Abraham, why are you doing this? Oh, we get money and favors out of her. You mean you get money and favors out of her?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he told it to me straight out. Straight out.
You see the latest what community council is looking into? They want to charge you $30 to park on your block. They want to put a pass in your car that says you're entitled to park on 47th Street, 59th Street, 18th Avenue. Where do they come up with this for the MTA? This would subsidize the MTA.
Right. Oh, right. Something with the something else with the
Like I say all the time to you, we're the worker bees, the middle class. How much do you want to take from us?
And even if you, Lenny, even if you take from us, at least give us back our services. At least allow us the freedom to do whatever we want. They don't allow us the freedom to do whatever they want. They pull us over. They stop us. They come into our homes. They just get warrants. You have judges that just say whatever they want.
Not only law enforcement, now they're going to get you with sanitation. If you put it, like you said earlier, if you put it out before 8 o'clock, ticket.
Lenny.
Sidewalk, you got a gum wrapper on this, it's a ticket.
Right.
I mean, how much can you take from us?
I want to tell you my tickets. I want to tell you my ticket that the guy wrote for my house, and it says it's simple on the ticket. I observed loose napkins in driveway storage area, not on the street, Lenny, in my private property. In my private property on a windy, rainy day. And he did it house after house. Everybody on my avenue is a criminal. Everybody. And
there's an Amazon warehouse in Staten Island and IKEA. It's not the store. They have a warehouse here.
Yeah.
The sanitation go in front of these buildings to see if there's papers there, because I guarantee you where they are, it's right by the water. I guarantee you everything's blowing around. But how come you never hear that IKEA or Amazon facility gets tickets from sanitation?
Right.
No, they'll go on 13th Avenue, 18th Avenue, 20th Avenue, and the people that are trying to make a living by selling, and they get these tickets. I don't get it.
Right. If you try to double park, you get a ticket. When these UPS and FedEx trucks and all these other trucks double park, and I know they're trying to deliver, but they should have, areas where they could park. They can sit there for 20 minutes, leave the car, back up traffic for hours. They then get to negotiate this 50 or 75 or 65 or 150. They get it down to $5. You know that? $5. While we don't have a choice to negotiate it down. It's just wrong. And if we
live in an apartment building and you just came from ShopRite to bring in your groceries, bam, $50 or whatever it is to double park.
Exactly, Lenny. Exactly. And
you know what? To me, if you have your flashes on, that's telling the traffic agent, listen, I just ran in for a minute. Give a little,
right.
A little break. I mean, if nobody's backed up, all right. If you come down and the oil truck can't get through, then a ticket is warranted. But if the guy's pulling in tight, he lives in an apartment building, he's got to bring the groceries up. We all know what a parking spot is worth. Apparently the city council does. They want to charge you $30. to park on your block now.
And I heard in the city that you can buy a full year spot for like a couple of $100, and I don't.
Suggestive pricing. Heshy, I say it all the time. How much are they going to go into our pockets? And last week, I wanted to get in. You should have her on the show again, Daniela. She was very good. She's running for a Republican spot. I think the two of you were stronger together.
Right.
You should invite her back.
Did you see Daniela? She's a woman of color. She did not care, but she did not care about black and white. She did not care. She cared about the city of New York. She cared about its citizens.
I like her views.
Yeah.
I did like her views.
Well, she's a nurse.
Somebody said she was on, I don't know, ABC yesterday or today, or because I mentioned the name, and I said, yeah, they saw her on TV. I think I think you should have her on again. We get stronger in numbers.
Well, I believe that we could have. I know when I become elected. The problem is we have some Republicans when they get elected, they just switch sides. You know, I'm not going to knock Ina Vernikova, but she was a Democrat like me. She became a Republican, and now she's supporting all the Democrats. I don't know what else she's doing because I don't see her doing anything major in city council. I don't want to say that she's sleeping around, but I don't see what else she's doing. I don't really see what she's doing. I have no idea of what she's done.
I don't like the fact that they make up these bills such as $30 to park on your own street. I mean, that's not helping the average. That's not helping Heshy. That's not helping Lenny. That's not helping Nikki, Frank, John. You're not helping us. What are you doing to help us?
I know. And again, Lenny, I want to ask you a question before we end the show. Recently, there was a lady on I think it was Ocean Parkway or whatever, that she got into a car and she locked it, just luckily. People grabbed it and tried to open the door. We have to be more, we have to be more, I was watching a video, we have to be more.
You know who Joe Dweck is, right?
Yeah.
Well, he put out a statement that he contacted the 66th and the 70th precinct, and no report was made. So now my question is this: did this really happen? And if it did happen, why didn't she report it? Because the more that the police know about this, the more that they could look out for it. You know, I mean, I didn't see anything from Shamram or Shmira that this was actually going on. So, I mean, did it happen?
Okay, let's just say it didn't happen or it didn't happen. Still, I want people to know, to be aware of your surroundings. Before you get in your car, don't be so busy on your phone. Look around, jump in your car, and immediately when you get in your car, you lock your door. Then you do whatever you want. Be careful, especially at night, because you'll be attacked.
It's up to that person to bring it to the police attention and make them aware that you might. I mean, there could be a pattern. There could be a pattern, and if they're aware of it, maybe they catch the SOB.
Right. I agree with you. I agree with you, Lenny.
You gotta let the police know.
You got to let the police know. You got to not be scared, everybody. You got to be able to be alert at all times and look around, because right now, the way crime is rising and the mayor has no control, everybody's saying, well, the mayor's trying. Let me tell you something. If you're if you're not competent or you're not qualified to do the job like de Blasio, you shouldn't be the job. I agree with you. Don't get me wrong, Lenny. Mayor de Blasio is trying. He's trying every trick in the book. But
you know what, Heshy?
he has no experience. He was you know what I heard? I think you told it to me. He was a guy who was a police captain or a lieutenant. He came in the morning, and half the day he was hiding somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But I got to address something. I'm looking at your comments from Michael Smith. Ask Lenny about NYPD overtime budget. I spoke to two cops the other night that were on a detail in Brooklyn because I'm doing some side work. And they said, I think they're getting 35 hours of overtime, but they're forced after that. So the cops are leaving in droves, but yet they're spending money to give them overtime to make up the difference. It's just, you got to back the blue. Otherwise, there'll be no more blue to protect.
You got to back the blue. I agree with you.
People that are on are getting forced to do more because they have less to do it with.
Right.
So the guys like Bragg, they got to be removed from office, the
How
crime.
did Bragg get elected, Lenny? How did he get elected?
I don't know. The punishment has to fit the crime, and if that doesn't happen, the police hands are tied. They're going to leave in droves. These two cops were still on probation, and they told me that they're going to lateral to other departments. You see, they get the training and they go, and I don't blame them. It's not the job that I was on years ago. Nobody backs you anymore. A perfect example before the show ends, the cop in Staten Island goes to a 911 call to the school. The girl says on the TV, yeah, I punched the police officer in the face 3 times. He was suspended before there was an internal investigation from Internal Affairs. He was suspended automatically. I think he was from the 121 precinct in Staten Island. So how do you ask these people to go in those cars and do their jobs when nobody's backing them up?
True. True. And again, I'm sorry, Lenny, it works so hard both ways that sometimes you have cops that just, are immune to everything that goes wrong and they're scared. And then you have people that don't want to protect the police.
Yes, I believe they are.
Yeah. And we should be protecting our police officers, watching them, be kinder to them, and they'll be kinder to us. But again, we're lost because you know why? Our leaders are lost. Our leaders are lost when they could come.
Heshy, I come out of a police car. I don't care how old you are, 13 years old. You punch me in the face, I'm reacting. I'm a
Yeah.
human being.
Yeah.
You can't tell me I'm professional. I punch you right back, whether you like it or not.
I know, Lenny.
And they don't back that up no more.
On a closing note, Lenny, and you were right about garbage issues on senior citizens. You think senior citizens are going to stay up till 8 o'clock to drag their garbage out in the middle of the winter? They come home early, 4 or 5 o'clock, they have dinner, they sit TV, and they want to go to bed, and they're running their homes. They're older, 70, 80, 90 years old. You don't drag them out.
On that note, let's put it this way. Florida is flooded with senior citizens, and it's always the joke. The early bird special is 3 o'clock in the afternoon for dinner. So that should tell it all.
Right. Even me, I'm getting older. I want to go home early and have dinner at 2 o'clock and watch TV and make fun of Linda all day long. That's all I want to do. Anyways, everybody, thanks for watching my show. I'm blessing President Trump that he doesn't get indicted. I know that Bragg is going to push it through, but I don't believe the grand jury is that stupid. Lenny, do you believe the grand jury is that stupid?
He's guaranteed to be the next president. That's my opinion, and a lot of people are saying it.
Right.
If Bragg indicts Trump, he's guaranteed to be the next president because I think people are just fed up with this.
Even DeSantis, he says, I don't have time to waste on this. I have issues in Florida. I have real issues. He didn't even want to talk about it. He says, I'm not interested. It's a waste of his time to even discuss it, even though Trump might be his adversary. He might be Trump's adversary. He didn't even want to waste his time to talk about it. It's a waste of our time and money. And this is what all the news channels are talking about. Being arrested, Trump indicted, coming up with laws and regulations.
It's a headline grabber. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
And a headline grabber.
Lenny, I love you. And next week is our last week for Passover. If you're down in Florida, you're coming down to me and you're going to hang with me. Watch my show again. Lenny's going to be on next week. I want you on the show more next week. Our last week to discuss a lot of issues. I love you, Lenny. And everybody, thank you for watching my show. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry I ran on, but this week I was a little disappointed, and I'm hoping that Donald Trump gets his day. I don't even want him to get his day in court. This has to go away. Watch my show next week, Wednesday night. I hope you like my funny video that I made, and tomorrow I'm going to post a funny video about me throwing the fire inspector out of here, and watch that one. You'll have a good laugh, and I'll teach you what your rights are in New York City and what the Constitution stands for.